If you want to grab our men's lifestyle supplement, Male Advantage ebook, or my personal workout and diet plan, all links are in the bio. Okay guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to break down why I believe the average guy is actually a 3 out of 10. And this actually created a ton of confusion on my most recent video, the Henry Cavill body language analysis. A lot of guys said, Chris, surely average has to be a 5 out of 10. And you would assume that, wouldn't you? It's a very much a logical fallacy, but you can't look at it as a scale, guys. You can't look at it as 0 to 10 and be like, well, the middle is 5, that must be average. You have to look at it as the data plot points. You have to look at it as where the data is being positioned. And then you need a reference. So on a wealth scale, you would assume, well, let's do looks, okay? It's a lot easier to do. You would assume that 5 is average, 5 is down the middle. But if you were to start at the top, 10, what's the best looking guy in the world? 9, a ridiculously looking guy, like one of the highest paid male models in the world, like just ridiculous top level. 8 would be like a real handsome celebrity, like top level guy. 7 might be like a fitness model or just a normal male model. 6 then has to be like a real handsome guy on the street who's not famous or anything like that, but a real handsome guy on the street. 5 then has to be like the best looking guy within a friendship group. 4 then has to be, you know, somebody who's got a little bit about them. Well, then 3 has to be average. Just be a normal guy, right? So when you work your way back, you realize, oh yeah, I can understand the scale now. And considering that the average person on the street is in abundance, there's more of them than any other bracket, you know, there's billions of them, well then whatever bracket that they take up ends up being the average. Because if you have 3 data plot points, 10, 5, and a 0, well then yeah, of course 5 is in the middle. That's the average, you know, point, that's the midpoint. But then if you were to move the 5 down to a 4, well then suddenly that point moves down slightly lower. You know, because then it would be 14 divided by 3, you know, it would be lower than 5. So that's the way you got to do it. And you can't look at it as a 1 to 10 scale. You got to look at it as the data plot points. Where would the average person in the world rank if 10 was the highest possible level? And there's 2 things that I need to break down with you guys, and we'll move over to the screen in a minute. We'll go through it all to make it. I'll go through all this again to make it a lot more comprehensible. It's gonna, by the end of this video, when I've broken it all down, it will make perfect sense to you. I think this might end up being a video that changes a lot of guys' lives because it's perception, and that's what I want to talk about, is the perception. If you think the average guy is a 5, what would you then assume you are? Because everybody believes they're better than what they are. I ask people, what do you think your body fat percentage is? Oh, I think I'm like a 16, whereas I'm thinking you're 22, 23, easy. Or they might be like, I'm 12% body fat, and I'm thinking you're about 18. Right, so everybody bumps themselves up to a much higher level than what they are. It's just the IKEA effect. It's personal preference, right? It's personal perception. Everybody thinks they're better than what they are. Everyone thinks they're 2 inches taller than what they are. Apparently science has shown that before. So if you think the average guy is a 5, most people wouldn't say they were average. They would say, you know, they would claw at the bit and say, I think I'm slightly above average. So the average guy on the street is claiming to be a 6 or a 7. Well, now based on what I just said, about a 10 being the best looking guy in the world, 9 not being far off, 8 being like a famous celebrity, like a real handsome one, 7 being like a male model or a fitness model, and then 6 being like a decent, like a real handsome guy on the street, or like an influencer or something like that. Well, is the average guy an influencer, fitness model, or a male model? Well, no, they're not. So then you've got to scale it down again. So in reality, the average guy is like a 2 to a 4. And it's that self-realization that will change your life. Because then instead of, you know, oh, Chris, why are you telling me this? Are you trying to dent my confidence? Well, no. Because when you don't realize there's a problem, you're not going to do anything about it. If you're driving down the road and you haven't put your lights on, late at night, all the lights are on, the street lights, whatever, you haven't realized you put your lights on. Tons of people have done this. I've done it. And you're driving along, you're thinking nothing of it, somebody flashes you. What's that guy flashing me for? Next guy flashes you. What are they flashing me for? Next person. By the third person, you're going, oh, there must be a problem. So then I realized, oh, I didn't turn my lights on, right? And without realizing there's a problem, you can't fix it. You have to realize first. So if you then realize you're a 2 to a 4, you know, you might be like a 3, you go, oh, it makes sense. Because before you were rocking about with this young male ego, You thought you were a 6 or a 7 because the average guy's a 5 and you're above that. But your reference point of average is too high. It's where the delusion comes from. But it's not guys' fault. It's a logical fallacy from the 1 to 10 scale, thinking a 5 is average, right? But then you've got this massive ego where you're going, why can't I attract women? Why don't women want me? I'm easily a 6 or a 7 out of 10. And you don't understand the problem. And when you don't understand the problem, you don't know how to fix it. And then the confusion kicks in, which is the worst thing in a young man's life, is the confusion. You know, bouncing around with that high school mindset, thinking that you're like some 6 or 7 out of 10, whereas on a global scale, you're like a 3. You're like a 2 or a 3. And when I realized that when I was young, I was like, fuck, I've got a lot of work to do. Let's go. Let's kick things into gear. Let's go and improve. Right? And it just immediately changed the game, because I was like, now I'm being honest with myself. I can look in the mirror. I can take a picture, look at myself and be like, yeah, I'm probably a 2 or a 3 out of 10. I don't have a decent amount of wealth. I was out of shape. I was like 20% body fat, 18 without realizing, but I thought I was shredded, right? It's this crazy delusion that you have when you're young. Got all this puffiness and this just water buffalo looking face. You're not well groomed and you're just looking in the mirror, but you're seeing something great. You're seeing a 5 or a 6 or a 7 or something like that. You might even see higher. I had a massive ego. I was delusional too. But you're thinking you're better than what you are. Whereas when you add it up on a global scale, you go, yeah, shit, I'm a 2 or 3 out of 10. That is when the real work can start, guys. That is when you can go and get in the gym and be like, okay, I now know my goal. That is when you can start chasing serious wealth, serious assets, start putting some points on the board. And usually for most guys, the big problem is, oh, I can't attract women. Oh, my life isn't going the way I want it to go. Oh, this is shit. You know, I should be at this level. Like, once they start climbing up that scale, but on a scale of reality, so instead of thinking they're like an 8 out of 10 when really they're a 4, when they start realizing, oh, I am actually a 4, and then they do the necessary steps to put themselves in a position to be a real life 7 or an 8, even a 6, they start seeing shit come together. One by one, step by step. It's like, oh, fuck, yeah, I wasn't actually where I was supposed to be. Like, we've all done this where we're like on the computer, like tapping away and we're like, why won't it work? And then you realize, oh shit, it's my mistake. I didn't have that setting on. So then you change the setting, here we go, everything's working now. It's very similar to that, where your reference point is wrong. So when things aren't going your way, you're getting annoyed and confused, like, why isn't it working out? A lot of it is that. For a lot of guys, it's the male ego. That's why I've often said, drop your ego, and you start to see the clarity. You step away and your perception of yourself becomes what everyone else sees. And you go, oh, of course, yeah, of course you didn't want me. Of course I got rejected. Of course, yeah, it makes perfect sense. Now I know what I got to go and do. Let's actually change these things. Let's do the necessary steps. Let's make this a deliberate process to get myself from the 3 that I currently am. Let's get to a 6 or a 7. Let's see how my life is. And this is the second brilliant part of this scale, which should give you all the optimism in the world. And all the optimism in the world comes from something I'm going to show you in a minute, where 5% of men are sleeping with about 80% of all the women in the world. Right? It's been said multiple times before by many people, and I really believe it to be true. Okay? Something that I believe with my heart of heart, that 5% of men are sleeping with about 80% of the women on planet Earth. And this is why you get a guy who's like an asshole and he treats women like shit, but they keep coming back to him because there's just a limited number of options. There's not many guys at that level. It's quite hard to reach that level across the board. So all these women keep coming back to this guy because there's like a 300-to-1 ratio and he can pretty much, exchange her like that. And she can get any like other guys, but there's not many of him. There's not many at that top level. So what it means for you is, if you can get up to like a 6 or above, you enter that 5% bracket. Because so few guys will ever make it out of a 6. The majority of guys will never make it out of a 4. They think they are, but they'll never make it out of a 4. It's just the reality of it. Like, you're surrounded by average people doing average stuff every day. That becomes your new normal. And that becomes your 5. In reality, it's 3. It's like a 2 to a 4, like I said. A small percentage of guys, around about 20%, end up making it from a 4 to a 6. They do something. They focus on 9-to-5 job and they make a little bit more money than the average person, 50, 60K per year. It might be a guy who goes to the gym and goes, okay, I'm going to boost my body this year. I'm going to get it up to a higher level than the average person. It might be 30 years old. Most 30-year-olds have got like a beer belly by that point. They've fucked up their lives somewhat. He's in shape. He's got like a flat stomach, 16% body fat. Yeah, he gets raised up into the 5 or 6 bracket. 4 or above. So it can be like a 4.5. You get what I mean? But 4 to a 6 bracket. He rises out of average, and he becomes slightly above average. That's true, slightly above average. Okay. Or it could be in terms of his face. He deals with water retention, gets regular haircuts, grooms himself up, does submental exercises, orthotropics, whatever, bumps his face up to a decent level. He's now a 5. Right, and he bumps himself just up above average. And here's the delusion part of it. Is if everybody is a 2 to a 4, suddenly he looks like a superstar. He looks like a bit of a stud. Oh, he's a real handsome guy. That guy gets girls, mate. He's a stud. He's a player. But it's like on a global scale, no, he's not. He just goes into a local club. He's slightly above average. People say, oh, he's a 7 or an 8. It's like, no, he's a 4, a 5. A push, he's a 6. 6 is like the highest possible limit of like average, slightly above average. People like the general population. 6 is like the highest possible limit of the general population. So when there is a guy who's like a 4, 5, or a 6, and they're killing it in life, and people are like, wish I had his life, he's like a 10. It's like, guys, you need to change your scale. You need to change your level, because if that's what you're chasing, that's why you're not improving, because it's just such an easy scale to get to. Like, I would class myself right now as a combination of like wealth, body, and face, whatever. I've put on a little bit of puffiness because I'm aiming to bulk again one more time. But I would put myself at like, I'm just trying to do it on a proper scale without being delusional either side, without trying to be humble, but without trying to be cocky. But I would say with the body that I've managed to achieve, the wealth I managed to achieve, I would say maybe a 6. Right, which is crazy, because there's some guys that are following this channel who might be like, oh, Chris, I thought, with everything combined and what you're doing, like you're my mentor, you're somebody that I look up to. I thought you were like an 8, a 9. Like, no, guys, I'm a 6, right? And my scale, I might be wrong. You might see me as a 5. The point doesn't matter. What I'm saying is I haven't broken into that top 5% yet, even though everything that I've done with fitness, everything that I've done with wealth, everything that I've done with my face and improved it somewhat. You guys have seen the pictures. I've taken myself from like a 2 to what I believe would be like a 6. Right? And I can feel that in normal society. Like you're above the average person on the street. The average person looks at you as some fucking superstar. Like once I get my SMP, whatever, like I think that would be like a concrete 6. Like most guys would look at it and be like, Jesus, if I look like that guy, if I had what that guy has, if I was earning what he's earned, my life would be complete. Like that's what But that's like the top end of the general public. And that's why that scale needs to be reshuffled. Because a lot of people would be like, that's an 8, that's a 9. Like some delusional people would think that's a 10. It's not, it's like a 6. But by knowing that that's only a 6, you can push yourself a lot further. And the point that I'm making is if you are willing to put a little bit of work in, guys, because that's all it takes. Like the average person is doing fuck all, they're doing nothing. If you're willing to put like 10% effort in and give up Saturdays and not Sundays, right? If you're willing to work all over Christmas but take your birthday off, so like not even that fucking dedicated. If you're willing to do like 8-hour days instead of 12-hour days on your business, or you're willing to stay an extra hour at work in a 9-to-5 job, I promise you can push yourself up to like a 6 very quickly, which gives you one hell of a life. Because like I said, about below a 6 is like 95% of the world's population. So you end up being this outlier male with a fucking fantastic life. And if you can push yourself into like a 7 bracket, it's almost like the easiest thing in the world. It's almost like the easiest life ever. It will just be women on demand. It will just be respect from men. You'll just feel good about yourself, etc. Like I said, from 6 to 10, so like above a 6 is what I'm saying, from like a 6 to a 10, that's like 5% of men globally. If you can make it into that bracket, which like I said, doesn't require a lot of work, this time next year, I'm going to have my SMP. I'm probably going to have like 15 products out on the market in terms of what I'm doing business-wise. So you're probably looking at like minimum 50, 60K per month coming in. You're probably looking at minimum, I'd probably going to be like 92 kg, 10% body fat. With more orthotropics, some mental exercises. I'm going to actually take grooming and fashion properly, right? I can push myself to like a 7. I can like move into that bracket. It's roughly around about 2-3 years of actual hard work. Probably like 2.5 of actual work trying to break into those brackets. I know I've worked on the business for a long time before that and built something up, but it's only got serious in the last few years with like fitness and whatever. It doesn't take that much work, and that should be wildly encouraging for so many of you guys out there, okay? So we're going to move over to the screen now. I'm going to show you the scales. I'm going to break it down to make it more of a visual experience. Some of you might have skipped straight forward to that. If that's how you learn, if you learn visually, if you learn, through somebody talking or listen to this on a podcast, then, it's obviously both formats, and that's what I want. I want more people to get this, because I might end up doing a second video on this, because the better that this is explained, the better that your life is going to go, guys, because then you're going to really appreciate the percentages game. And it's like my old science teacher said to me once, if there was a lion chasing us all, what do you need to do to get away from the lion? And we were all like, be the fastest. It's like, no. Like, what do you need to do? Oh, you need to climb a tree. It's like all these stupid fucking childlike answers. He was like, I just need to be quicker than one of you. And I was like, fuck, that's very clever. Right? And it made me realize that there's a lot of bonuses in life of just being better than the average herd of people. And if that average herd is grouped together in a very slim category of 2 to 4, 2 to 6 at a push, but majority of it is like 2 to 4, just a slight little bit of work will take you out of that and give you an amazing life. And you're going to see that now visually. It's going to all make sense. Okay, guys, so you join me here looking at this this thing that I put together earlier. This thing is a bit random, isn't it? I'll just break down what it all means quickly. So 0 to 2%, 0 to 2 on the 10 scale in terms of like looks or whatever. I believe that there's like 5% of men that are hanging in this bracket. I say looks, but it's like everything combined. Men that are like 2 or below might be unemployed. It's a horrible thing to think about, but a lot of people say it's like disabled guys with like an illness or something. It's very hard for women to justify dating a guy like that or finding them attractive, etc. Because a lot of attraction is health. The less we speak about it, the better, but it's worth mentioning. Then we got this second bracket, 2 to 4, which is what I spoke about earlier. This is about 70% of men. They sit within this bracket. And there's the average line, okay? That's where I believe roughly whereabouts it is. And I'll show you why I think that in a second. Then we got this third bracket here from 4 to 6, about 20% of men. These are the men that are considered like top level because people aren't aware of this shit because these guys are so rare. But then look, you've got this giant bracket from like 6 to 10. It's like 5% of men. Now we got 25% here, 5% there. Let's take 20 from that. We got 50. Slice that in half. It's roughly about here, okay? I place a line there. It doesn't matter. It's like a 3.3. It's like the average guy on the planet. That makes sense when you look at it like that. And most guys, like I said, never get above that level, okay? So that's what we're looking at here. And instead of, this is how most people think the graph is kind of plotted. 3 data points, 1 0, 1 5, 1 10. So you've got 10, 15, 0. So this 15 divided by 3 equals 5. So that's how you would get that data. But if you were to look at it as not many people down this end, few more people down this end, let's say it's age on the left, let's say that's going up in age, right? And then if you were to say like this is just wildly populated, there's just so many people around this bracket, let's just say this is just absolutely chunked out. You're getting the picture, it's not going to look too good. There's a few less people in this bracket. And then as we move up here, it just gets rarer and rarer and rarer until we have like this sort of scale, okay? Or if you were to look at it like this, I know it's not wildly accurate. Let's just put a few more data points in to make it that. Right, now we look at it, that's pretty accurate now, okay? If you were to look at it like this, you would go, oh, okay, well, the main bulk of this, the main bulk of where people are, is here. Of course you would, right? You would say, well, this is the main bulk, and the middle of that is around about there. So that's what you have to perceive it as, okay, guys? You can't perceive it as 1 data point, 2 data point, 3 data point. That's the middle. You have to look at it, instead of looking at it as a scale, the scale is just a reference. You have to look at it as where people are plotted on the graph. And if the main bulk of the population are here, well, then that's average. And that perception, that kind of concept alone will change your life, okay, guys? Because now you'll start thinking, instead of a 5 being average, you'll start thinking, well, shit, a 3 is average. Like the average people are like in the Matrix. They're just dotting along from a 2 to a 4. That's like the main bulk of the population. Like they're all like stuffed in together. And once you realize that, it's like you get unplugged from the matrix and you go, okay, I've got to increase my life. I've got to improve some areas. Like, I've got to get away from that average bracket. Like, I didn't realize how populated it was. I thought average was 5. Fuck, we're actually miles away from the people who are 6 and above. They're living their own existence. People who are 6 to 10, it's like a whole different society to everybody else underneath that. And the 4s, 5s, and, you know, just before the 6s, so 4s and 5s, they believe that they're running the show. A lot of these guys believe they're like 8s, 9s, and 10s because they're running this whole bracket. They're running like all of this. They're having their pick of women within this bracket. They're running the show. They're dominant over all the men in this bracket, and they think they're kings. It's like the rarity scale that I spoke about before. I talked about you've got like kind of friendship rarity, like your friendship group rarity, which is like bracket 1. Bracket 2, you've got like local rarity. Bracket 3, you've got regional rarity. Bracket 4, you've got national rarity. 5, you've got global rarity. And then 6, you had generational rarity. And most people are living here in their friendship group or local in their village. I'm the best looking guy in my village. I must be a player. You know, they're in this bracket. But yet, what they don't realize is all the way up here is generational, national, regional. You know, these are the real players in the game. And these guys are right down here. But because on a local scale, they're a big fish in a small pond, they think they're running the show. And it creates this misconception that they have a great life when in reality they don't, okay? So once you realize that you can move up this scale and you can improve. Now, what I've got on screen now is a picture of what women deem to be the average looking man. So if we've just agreed that this is a 3.3, and women have said to us, hey, this is what we believe is an average looking man, well, now you can pretty much decide where you fit on this scale. And average is quite a big bracket. Okay, so if you are better looking than this guy, you might be a 4. Right? If you're on about roughly this guy's level, then obviously you're like a 3. If you're below that, then you're probably like a 2. It's where the majority of men will sit within this bracket here. That's what I mean, 70%. If you're watching this video, you're probably in that 70% if you haven't put any work in. If you've put a little bit of work in, you're probably from a 4 up to like the 6 bracket. You know, and very likely a 5. It's very likely that you're on that scale. But this guy normally, you know, if people say, oh, that guy's pretty average, he's not, you know, he's not quite a 6, I'd say he's just slightly above average, he's got some nice eyes, whatever. A lot of guys would be like, oh, he's a 5 or a 5.5. They put him in this bracket here. So then by default, they would say, well, I'm slightly better looking than him. I would either say I'm a 6, or if they've got a little bit of an ego, they'd say I'm a 7. And that creates an absolute shitstorm, guys. Because if you think, oh, a 10 is up here and I'm like a 7, you know, and all these guys are underneath me and I'm not that far from a 10 scale, women should love me. I'm very high up that scale. I'm a top level guy. Like, once you develop that level of delusion because you've put this guy at a 5, when in reality he's actually like a 3, a 3.3, well, you bump yourself up by 2. Well, now you've got this delusion of like, I'm a 7 out of 10. Women should want me. My life should be better than this. Why don't women want me? Why am I getting rejected? Why am I lonely and single? And like I said, it creates a massive confusion. Whereas if I had told you, no, actually, buddy, you're like a 4, you would go, oh, well, that makes sense. Now I realize it's like there's a problem on your computer and you start kicking off and you're like, why won't it work? Why won't it work? And then in reality, it's you. Like, you fucked up. It's your fault. And you go, oh, right. And then suddenly the problem's solved and you fly over up to a 10. You're like, oh, well, that worked a lot quicker than it, you know, that worked at the speed I thought it would. And if you're a 4, you sit there and you go, oh, really? Am I? Well, shit, maybe I should get in the gym. Okay, now you've bumped yourself up. Maybe I should focus a little bit more on improving my wealth. Okay, now you've bumped yourself up. Well, now I'm going to do all the autotropics, water retention, etc. I'm going to do that and get some decent assets. Now you start jumping up that scale. Whereas if you think you're up here, you're like, oh, I've got no reason to improve. I'm a 7. I'm a good-looking guy. Like, you hear this all the time, right? I should be getting girls. I'm a really good-looking guy. Like, girls like me. I feel like I'm a handsome bloke. I'm in pretty good shape. I'm in above average shape. But you're judging average on all of your friends and all the people you're surrounded by. And I'm telling you that is the average person. They're within this bracket. So you're saying, well, yeah, but look, I'm above average guy. Well, you're basically just saying you're like a 4 because you're an above average guy in your friendship group. Right? That's what you're saying. And then the guys that you think are good looking, because it's on a local scale, they're like here, maximum. So you're missing out on all of this. You don't even know it exists. So you've got low standards to begin with. You're perceiving yourself about here. Whereas, like I said, in reality, you're like here or whatever. And it fucks up a lot of guys. So why am I telling you this, guys? Why am I telling you this? Am I doing this to dent your confidence? Or am I trying to expose how, in reality, how easy it actually is to rise up that scale? Because that's in reality what I'm trying to do, guys. I'm trying to show you the path to greatness. And a lot of guys will say, hey, but it's easy to say, I'm not a handsome guy. Look, I'm telling you, the average person on the street is an absolute bum and they do fuck all to improve themselves. The average guy on the street, if you look at data, has like 10 beers per week, goes to the gym twice per week, is 18 to 21% body fat. I think it's like 21% body fat, actually. Right? It's not a hard border to get past. It's not a hard line to cross. But the average person is sat around about that region. So what it should do for you is, number one, it should give clarity to your real position, which then removes confusion. It then removes your ego. You can sit there and have that self-realization moment where you go, fuck, this now makes sense, Chris. All this time I thought I was a 6 or a 7, and I thought I had a little bit of improvement to go. Fuck, that gap is actually massive. I've got a long way to go. I better go and work on myself. So that when you do start working on yourself and you start taking it seriously, your diet's on point. You stop drinking alcohol. You lower your salt intake. You lower your sugar intake. You have a proper gym schedule 6 days per week. And I mean proper, like the one that I've got in my course. Not my course, my ebook for $4.99. You can see it in there. That's why I've made it cheap so everyone can get it. When you see the proper gym schedule and you see how like somebody with good form is actually training, who is dedicated, who's gritting their teeth every morning at 6 a.m. and then you see the results that you get, you go, oh shit, yeah, there's levels to this game and I was nowhere near them. Well, when you start tapping into this shit, or you become genuinely serious about money, so like you cut your bills down to like £1,000 less per month and you start investing that 1,000 into a business, into a product, into crypto investments, whatever, and then 5 years down the line you start seeing this crazy wealth come in, you go, oh yeah, it's not that hard to rise out of this lower bracket. It's just the average person is so fucking abundant in this bracket that it just makes you feel as though you're doing better than what you are. Like if somebody's here, they're going to be like, I'm the king, whereas in reality, yeah, there are like 85% of people who are, you know, below you, if that is a term that we can use here. But at the same time, it's not that high at the scale. You've only just hit middle of the road. You're only just a 5. You're at like half mast, if you would. But it doesn't, like the point I'm making is it doesn't take a lot of work. Because like I said, the average guy in this bracket is a complete bum. He's going out with his friends every night of the week because that's the only reference he's got. He's drinking like 10, 15 beers per week. He's like 21% body fat. And he's looking around at his friends and saying, well, I'm the best looking guy in my friendship group. Well, I'm in the best shape in my friendship group. Well, I still have all my hair. My friends don't. And he's thinking, oh, I must be like a 7 out of 10. I must be like an 8 out of 10. Because he's got a low reference to be judging it by. Whereas in reality, if you're the best of an average bunch, that makes you a 4. And this is why I believe the average guy is 2 to a 4. 2 to 4. That's a weird way of saying it, isn't it? I don't want it to sound like a time on the clock, 2 till 4. But that's where the average person sits, just within this bracket. And once you realize that, like I said, it's mind blown. And now suddenly you can make the necessary improvements, which don't take, like honestly, 1 year of being in the gym and sorting your fucking face out and just, you know, dedicating to your 9 to 5 job or business or whatever, and you're going to be up into this second bracket of 20% of men. You could be living that very good life, okay? Straight away, you can jump into that bracket, little to no effort. It's very fucking easy. This bracket up here is going to take like 5 to 10 years of dedication to get up there. But any guy can reach this bracket and have a fantastic life. Okay, because you're already top 25% of men, and it's very easy to enter that bracket. But like I said, this is the average guy. It gives you a reference point, okay? Now, this part is very interesting to me because now is when I'm going to work my way back. So I deem this guy with this body and this money a 6. And now people are going to be looking at me and saying, you're crazy, Chris. That's nuts. Like I would deem that guy like a 9 out of 10. Well, that tells me that you need to change your point of reference. You need to really boost up your point of reference because if you don't understand what top level is, you can't work your way back. So let's do it. So if this is a billionaire, And this is somebody who's worth hundreds of millions. This is worth tens of millions. This guy is worth, in tens of millions, I mean like 1 to 10. Okay, you could do tens of millions outside of 100 million. We could do that too. But I just don't think it would be fair. I don't think the bracket would work properly. So let's do billions, hundreds of millions. Let's do tens of millions. So it's anywhere from like 1 to 90 within that bracket. Let's do hundreds of thousands, and that's in terms of like net worth or saved up. And this guy is probably earning about 6 figures per year. That's how you'd have to do it, and you could even do it on a different scale. And this just shows you the point of reference. You could do billions, hundreds of millions, tens of millions, single-digit millions, hundreds of thousands. Whichever way you look at it, you're going to have to be earning this type of money to be sitting at a 6 financially. Okay, now let's work our way back, because I'm going to blow your mind in a minute, but people are going to look at this guy and be like, he's a really handsome guy. I think he's like an 8 out of 10. What are you talking about, Chris? He's better looking than you. Right? Yeah, he probably is. But let's work our way back. Best looking guy on the planet. The second bracket of good looking guys. So still out of this world, blowing your mind sort of shit. Movie star good looks, celebrity good looks, fitness models and male models. Probably like fashion influencers, that sort of shit, okay? Like this guy. Where he couldn't be a male model, okay? His cheekbones are too low. It's like he's smiling, which makes you better looking, but cheekbones are too low. Doesn't really have hollow cheeks or anything like that. His body's like 16, 17% body fat. It's nothing too impressive, okay? But that's the reference point you need to do. When you work your way back, suddenly this guy being at 6 makes sense. So we'll do it again. Best body in the world, Mike Thurston. One step down from that, maybe his mate, what's his name? Some of the guys he hangs around with, I can't remember their names now. I've actually got a picture of one of them coming up in a minute, which, like I said, will blow your minds. But like somebody who's a scale down on that, then you'd probably say male model. Then I'd be tempted to put myself in around about here based on the shape that I've got in this year. And then that sort of body is probably one below. Because I'm definitely in better shape than that. So I must be like a 7, and that's probably like a 6. Okay, so a lot of guys would see that as like an 8 or something like that, or it's just off top level. It really is a 6. Like usually most people are 2 down from where they believe they actually are. Right, so you'd be looking at that now saying, Chris, if I had 100k per year, if I looked like this guy and I had that body, I'd see myself as like a 10. I'd see myself as that's the perfect life. Well, let me blow your mind. Once I bring up a high level reference point, suddenly, Jeremy Meeks compared to this guy makes him look like a child still at school. Okay, it's just a completely different level. Jeremy Meeks just makes him look ugly straight away. And that's because Meeks is a 10, this guy's a 6. Now, this guy isn't ugly, real handsome guy. But like I said, when you're doing this scale, there has to be a 10. You can't be like, he's a 10 too. That's a 10, that's a 10. Like, you have to have somebody at the fucking top and then other people underneath. And you look at the bone structure, you look at the body fat percentage, the hollow cheeks, etc. It's worlds apart. Like, they're not even on the same planet. They're like different. That's an alien, that's a human being. Right? And now you can see, okay, yeah, this is just a handsome, average guy on the street. That is why he's a 6. Jeremy Meeks, professional male model. That's why he's probably like a 10 or a 9 or whatever, right? Then you look at the body. Chris, that body's probably like an 8. Okay, well, if this is a 10, that's not an 8. That has to be a 6 now. When you scale it down from something as Rob Lipset, that's who I was thinking of. Rob might be like a 9 or a 10. If Thurston's like a 10, he might be like a 9, whatever. But I'd say he's probably like a 10. And most guys had that. That's like top level. So when you work your way back, it's a 6. And that's what I'm saying, guys. When you've got this picture here, you might be like, Chris, how the hell is that a 6? But once you look at the global scale, you go, oh shit, yeah, of course it's a 6 when you work your way back. And this is a reference point that a lot of guys don't have in terms of wealth, in terms of looks, in terms of the body. And they're rolling around thinking that guy that I showed you in the middle, and I'm like, no shit against this guy, he's a handsome guy. But they're thinking he's like a 9 or a 10. Oh, he gets all the girls. Yeah, look, I'm sure he does. Okay, but I'm sure he doesn't get as many girls as the other 2 guys on here. I'm sure he doesn't get as much respect as the other 2 guys on here. You know, he might be earning 6 figures a year. And, oh, he's a baller. He makes so much money. You've seen his new BMW. I'm sure he doesn't make as much money as the other two guys on here. There are levels to this game, and until you are exposed to them, it's very hard to slap yourself around the face, wake up, and realize that changes need to be made, urgent changes, and drastic changes. People will be thinking now, so Chris, what are you telling me? I need to improve myself and become a perfect 10 in face, body, money, etc. No, I'm not saying that, guys. I'm just trying to give you a reference point of how low you really are. Because I was there too. I was at like a 2. And I didn't realize at the time. I thought I was probably like a 6 or a 7. But then when I realized I was a 2, I was like, yeah, fuck, it all makes sense now. This is why my life is struggling. I need to boost it. I need to improve myself. I need to improve in terms of gym, face, money, etc. I need to climb that ladder because that exclusive 5% group gives you one hell of a fucking life. Only 5% of men ever reach this bracket, a 6 and above. And to be honest, guys, like I said, if you want an easy life, put in a little bit of work. 2 years of work in your 9-to-5 job, 2 years of work in the gym, 2 years of work on your face, you're probably going to be like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. You're going to be top 25%, maybe 15 if you like land in this bracket. And it's going to, like, you got to understand, if 75% of men are underneath here, this is an exclusive club already. Okay, this whole bracket is an exclusive club already. Like, it's so, and most of these guys here, 5% and above, they're sleeping with the most like attractive women on the planet. They're not interested in a large bracket of the women that are available. This bracket of men here in the general public, 4 to 6, they're cleaning up. They're considered like players. They're cleaning up on an average level. Like the girls that are like 4s, 5s, 6s, you know, they're cleaning up with these women. They're taking them home all the time. They're sleeping with a ton of them. And for people who are like, oh, I don't want to sleep with a 4, 5, or 6, do you know how hot women who are like 6s actually are? Hottest woman on the planet. Woman with a beautiful face, nice ass, no tits. A beautiful woman with a terrible body. A woman with a nice body and an ugly face. The woman who's like the hottest in your school. The woman who's like hottest in your office. Right? Because this is rare. This is like an Instagram level body. That's like the hottest woman on the planet. That's like the hottest woman on the planet with one asset missing. That's like the hottest woman on the planet with, you know, a poor body. It's like a Victoria's Secret level face with a terrible body. Okay, so that there is still all, like, most guys would die for a woman like this on a 6 level. Most guys would die for a woman here. That's like, it's like the type of girl where people are like, she's so hot, she's a 10. And I'm like, she's a 5, man. Right? So most guys see these women here as goddesses. And that's what you can't understand. And I'm not saying be average, but I'm just saying if you've got no ambition, guys, and you just put in like 5% of work, 10% of work for like 2-3 years, you'll end up in this bracket with like a 5 out of 10, earning, you know, like 60k per year or something. I don't know why I'm drawing this. I'm enjoying this. It's like a kid at school. You're earning like 60k per year. You're with a woman who is as beautiful as I just described there, who like all your mates are like, wow, she's stunning. And you're going to be in like that sort of shape with a face that's slightly worse than that. Guys, that's one hell of a life. And that just takes us a minimal amount of improvement. But it just explains to you 2 things. Like I said, for the ambitious guys out there, eye this up like it's a steak and it's just been served. Because that's what I do, okay? I believe I'm sitting about here right now. By this time next year, I think I'm going to be like there or there based on all the things that I'm doing. And I cannot fucking wait because that'll be my male advantage years. That's when I go into it. I'm licking my lips at getting into this bracket. Really going to enjoy it because I can already sense this bracket. Like I said, the 6s, 5s, and 4s women, yeah, they're there, okay? Like, I don't want to be arrogant, but they're there. They're on a plate. It's quite, I can sense it now. But getting into this upper bracket here, this is something that I'm starting to look at, and I can see the potential and whatever. And if you're an ambitious guy, you just have to go for this, guys. Because like I said, it's 5%. And 5% of the guys are fucking like 80% of the women. They've got the best lives. They're earning above this kind of number, you know, and it just opens the gates to just something that most people, 95% of men, will never experience in their life. But for the guys who do lack ambition, drive, whatever, just put a little bit of work in and just end up in this bracket, the top 25% of men. Like I said, you can kind of have this life here. And to some guys that might seem crazy, but then when you look at what top level actually is, you go, okay, yeah, this is probably achievable. You know, you get yourself down to like 10% body fat, and you have shitty genetics, you're probably going to look pretty similar to like that and that. You know, that's if you have like 12% body fat and shitty genetics, like shitty ab genetics, you're probably going to have this body. Okay? If you're an ugly guy and you work really hard on yourself, you do the sub-mental exercises, all the tropics, etc., you do all the necessary work and you keep your skin good and whatnot, probably going to be like within that ballpark or just slightly off. Like you'll never reach this level. It's just not within your genetic makeup. Or if you did orthotropics for the rest of your life, just not going to be able to change your bone structure to that extent at that stage, okay? Like that hollow cheek. But look at this random puffy. Like you can achieve that. Look at the difference. Anybody can get to that level. This might be steroids. Wildly achievable for any guy. Like any guy should have a better body than this, in my opinion. Right? So that's what makes it so easy. Is like you might not be as good looking as this guy naturally, but you can do a lot of work. You might fall one short, but every guy can go one above that. Every guy can earn 100 grand per year with enough effort in any 9-to-5 job if they dedicate like 5 years and become a career man or 10 years. Well, it's doable. Okay, and with the right qualifications, whatever, anybody can get to like that kind of level if you're willing to put the work in. And that's what I mean. You can be at the top of the general public. But that reference point and the self-realization and the honesty with yourself, guys, of knowing that you could very well reside within this bracket, and your previous perception of 5 is average and you are a 6 is ruining your life because you're not realizing how much work needs to be put in, and you are satisfied with the current level you're at. It's like when you're a kid, you go to school, they throw you in the sandpit. Well, the sandpit is the best thing in the world until you go on holiday and you sit on a beach. And once you sit on that beach, you go, that sandpit is shit. I didn't realize beaches existed. And it's almost just having your eyes opened and exposed to what's really out there. And like I said, I call 2 to 4 the matrix bracket, because that's what everybody is. They're locked up in the matrix. And guys from 4 to a 6, they've realized, you know, if I do a little bit of extra work, they've got a slight hint, like a hint of ambition. Well, they start seeing results. They become the kings of the general public. They're almost like the Agent Smiths, if you would, you know. But then on the right-hand side, you get the Neos. I don't know why I'm using Matrix references, but the 2 to 4 bracket really works in that sense. But then you look at that top-level bracket, the 5% of men. That's where you want to get. And like I said, it doesn't require that much work. To break into the 4 to 6, it just requires like 2-3 years of work, guys. It's not hard. You know, I did my body transformation in a year, my face transformation in like a year. I've been doing orthotropics for a while, so maybe like 3. And then on the far right hand side, like I said, in order to get up to like to have like Jeremy Meeks' face, Rob Litset's body, and like $1 million a year coming in or something like that. Yeah, you might not ever get Jeremy Meeks' face, but you might get close to Rob Litset's body. You might be able to put something like 200,000-300,000 per year in your bank account, get up to like millions, rise up to like a 7 with like a 9 body and like a 7 face. Well, now suddenly you're like an 8 overall. Do you know how powerful that is, guys? To be like top 2.5%. And then you add in like a decent personality, good assets, good life setup, low bills, whatever, good sense of humor, good fashion sense. Like you could well be looking at yourself being perceived as like an 8, 9 or a 10, just depending on who you hang around with. That's a fantastic life. But that reference point is everything. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to understand the scale that I've drawn here. You have to understand global rarity, the difference between global rarity, local rarity, you know, the small scale shit. You know, you have to understand that this guy, although you think he's super handsome, can be found on every street in England, in the US, every street in America. And then you have to understand that that is like top 1%, the rarest of the rare. You know, this guy posted a picture of a mugshot. Well, they posted a picture of his mugshot. He goes viral, gets a modeling career. You post a picture of this guy's mugshot, it's just going to get like 200 likes. There's a wild difference, okay? If this was somebody's body transformation, people are like, oh yeah, keep going, bro. This was it. It'd be like, where's your fitness course? I want to buy it. That's top level. Brands would be coming in and sponsoring. You have to understand that. You have to understand that, guys. Because if your reference point is just local with your mates, it's very hard to see the reason to improve. And it will kill you. It will kill you slowly. because you will be lingering around with average people and you won't realize what else is out there. And like I said, it gives you so much hope. It gives you so much hope because 95% of the male population is under a 6. And 75% of the world's male population is under a 4. Just put in 3 years of work, guys, and I promise you, you will make it into the top 95% of men with 3 years of hard work. That could just be being serious about money, being serious about saving and investing, being serious about orthotropics, some mental exercises, water retention, being serious about body fat, grooming, etc., being serious about the gym. If you do all of them at once, you probably reach 6 or 7 status. Or being serious about your 9-to-5 job or whatever you're into, right? But if you just get serious for a short amount of time, the results come in, and then suddenly all that confusion washes away, and you go, oh, that's why I was lingering at average. That's why my life wasn't good. Because my reference point, I thought I was a 7. In reality, I'm a 3. This is what I did. It changed my life. I hope the video's helped, guys. If you want to grab our men's lifestyle supplement, Male Advantage ebook, or my personal workout and diet plan, all links are in the bio.